for us and for all that you do.
Ladies and gentlemen, mothers and fathers, aunts and uncles, grandfathers and grandmothers, brothers and sisters, boyfriends and girlfriends, relatives and friends, and all those who couldn't be here today, I would like to take this opportunity to represent the senior class and to welcome all of you to the graduation of Holy Spirit Prep 2007. As I'm sure most of you know, these last 4 years have been a wild ride, culminating in an absolute summit of sleep deprivation. And I know none of us could have survived, no matter what we may say in the middle of an argument, without the wonderful support that each of you has given to all of us in the class of 2007. With all your support, and with the wonderful opportunities this school has given us, we have managed to come together despite many odds. When we started 4 years ago, in that young green freshman year, we all came from different places, not to mention very distant different places. From the south, some had to venture uphill, both ways of course, through rain, snow, and hurricanes, from the distant land of Peachtree City, traveling a whopping 44 miles to school. This means our southern classmates from this distant town traveled approximately 62,784 miles to our wonderful campus over the course of 4 years. Far to the north, in my particular town, Cumming, we lonesome inhabitants were forced to travel our way through miles and miles of traffic for a total of 43,488 miles. And anybody who lives closer, well, I'll merely keep it to, I'm jealous you got more sleep than I did. Indeed, I will admit I doubted if anything or anyone could pull such a divergent and distant group of kids together. But during that first year, we made friendships, and we began to form the bonds that would follow us and morph us into the very people we are today. Everything from Latin 1 with Molly, or Mr. Holly, as I'm sure most of you probably know, or Western Civilization with Mr. P, to our trip to DC. In fact, that trip really began to bring our class together. Of course, I suppose any 15-hour bus ride would probably either start a riot or bring people together. Later, in our sophomore year, the class moved to the upper school campus, and will be the last of Holy Spirit to ever do so. We gained some new members and lost others. We all started chemistry with Miss Drake. I don't think I will ever remember so many kids complaining about worksheet 10.4C or whining about homework, while enjoying every second of it. During this year, we were the first and last class to visit Boston, where we managed to escape insane cab drivers and survive inhumane weather. However, despite all these conditions, with the support of our friends and family, we again grew closer together. And then our wonderful junior year, our first glimpse of Miss Keneally's office, and an absolutely absurd number of college visits, SAT classes and prep, all the pressure of AP classes, and I'm sure as all our parents remember more than anything, permits, licenses, and cars. This year was the one that the class really began to depend, not only on our parents and friends, but also on each other. We all began to rely on one another for support in class, with our work, and slowly, through determination, began to become the adults and individuals that we are today. The year finally coalesced during our trip to New York, where we managed to depend on each other quite literally for our lives, running through Chinatown and Little Italy, basking in the lights of New York. And finally, our senior year, the insane task of managing school, maintaining a life, and applying to colleges, the unbelievable number of blue and yellow sheets, hours and hours and hours of time inside Miss Keneally's office. I remember so many of us running through the halls, yelling about whether this sentence was a decent thesis, or how to get rid of this is verb, or how to solve this calculus problem. Literally sacrificing sleep for the sake of having friends and keeping up with schoolwork, all balanced by the wonderful euphoria of having friends that each of us could be so close to and entrust everything about ourselves. And all of this culminated when one of our teachers, who shall remain unnamed, called an absolute orgy of sleep deprivation, the trip to Rome. Personally, Rome gave me many things. For instance, stomach virus, a runny nose, and a nice cough, and lost luggage, which still hasn't turned up. However, it also gave our class the final push to become the one entity that you now see today. Whether running through the streets, screaming for a taxi on a scavenger hunt, attempting to order at a restaurant with no English-speaking waiters or waitresses, or simply doing as Romans do. We all discovered new things about our closest friends. We reformed old friendships, established new bonds, and simply learned something new about someone we hadn't known before. Whatever our individual experiences, I can safely say that we all became closer. On behalf of my classmates, the Holy Spirit Prep class of 2007, I'd like to thank our parents for sending us here 4 years ago, all of you here for supporting us, and I'd like to thank you all for being here to send us out in the world today. Thank you.